She said V. Okay, again, number 3, which was the first one you had for homework. When my dot comes back, I can start writing. Ellie said we have to first have the formula, which is V equals L length times width times height. What should I have substituted in there, Ethan?
4 times 5.
4 times 5 times 3, because so this is 3, that's 4, that's 5. Then you should have multiplied 2 of them together. Leah, which 2 do you want to multiply together first? Okay, what's 4 times 5, Leah? 20 times 3, 60 cubic units. Could you have multiplied the 5 and the 3 first? Yeah, it's just this next step would have said 4 times 15, which is still 60. Number 4, Dom, what should I have first? Okay, length times width times height. Substitute. Hallie, what should I have next under that?
4 times 3 times 3.
Okay, length times width, you're right. 4 times 3, and I look at my height over here is also 3. What is 4 times 3, Lily? 12 times 3, Emmy? 36, and my label is cubic units. For number 5 and 6, to save time, go ahead and write the formula. Why is it okay if I just write it like that, Elise?
If you remember that there is an invisible multiplication sign.
Because they're all what?
Variables.
Variables. If you have more than one variable next to each other, there's always an invisible multiplication sign between them. Owen, substitute in my values for number 5.
2 times 3 times 4.
Okay, 2, 3, and 4, and I have them labeled there. 2 times 3 times 4. I'm going to do the first 2. 6 times 4 is 24 cubic units. Next one, Leo, substitute in my values. Check these as we go, guys. If you miss something, fix it.
4 times 3 times 4.
Okay, 4 times 3 times 4. I agree. 4 times 3 is 12. Times 4 is what? Tatum, what's 12 times 4? 48 cubic units. Questions on those 4? Raise your hand if you like this stuff a lot better than surface area. Okay, volume is easier than surface area.
Well, the sets like work.
What?
The sets work that you
It's still easier than surface area. Okay, next one, I'm going to write V equals length times width times height. V equals length times width times height. Dawson, what am I going to write or substitute in for number 7?
For number 7, they're going to substitute in 4 times 3. And then
4, what's my height?
height is 4.
Okay, so 4 times 3 times 4. So then you should have 12 times 4, which is 48 cubic units. Jake, next one. Go ahead. No, tell me what I substitute in. 1 times 3 times 3. So we have 3 times 3, which is 9 cubic units. Okay, and this is actually 5th grade volume. Okay? It's also 6th grade volume. The only thing they add in 6th grades is that the side links aren't whole numbers.
like this.
Your side links will be decimals and fractions, which means you have to know how to multiply decimals and fractions. Okay? You have an assignment next week where you will have fractions because it's the easier one. So let's, on number 8, right under number 8, we're going to make up side lengths for a rectangular prism that are fractions, just to show you if you can do this, you can do it with fractions. Okay, so you have a margin down at the bottom. Let's just call it number 9. Put a number 9 down there. Down in the margin, write a number 9. If we're finding volume of a rectangular prism, V equals length times width times height. And we're not even going to do mixed numbers. We're just going to do fractions. Meyer, give me a fraction. 3/4. So we're going to say the length is 3/4 feet long. Dom, give me a fraction. 1/2. Jake, give me a fraction for the height. 2/3. We're going to do the exact same thing. Underline 2 of them. How do I multiply 2 fractions? Owen.
Just multiply top by top, bottom by bottom.
Yeah, top times top, bottom times bottom. Hallie, what's 3 times 1? 3. Hallie, what's 4 times 2? So now we have 3/8 times 2/3.
Do we have to simplify?
What is 3 times 2?
6.
6. 8 times 3?
24.
24. Owen says, do we have to simplify? Oh, you're funny, Owen. Answer that question for me. Owen, answer that question for me. Yes, anytime you have a fraction, you should simplify. Jake, how do I simplify fractions? The top and the bottom by the same thing. What can go into both 6 and 24, Afton? 6. Okay, 6. Could you have done 2? Yeah, you would have just had to do it again. So I'm going to do divided by 2, divided by 2. Oh, sorry, she said 6. She was doing it quicker. That's okay. If you did 2, you would just then have to do 3. So divide by 6, divide by 6. What's 6 divided by 6? 1. What's 24 divided by 6? 4 cubic units. Okay? So is that really much different? No, it's just in 6th grade they expect us to know how to multiply fractions. The assignment that I'm taking a grade on next week, there's one without fractions. It's a 5th grade assignment, and there's one 6th grade assignment, which means it has fractions. Okay, but you do the exact same thing. Okay, go to the next page where you had problems. Give me a second to get there. Okay, on this page, you had number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's just give answers, and then I can go back and give work if needed. Jake, what did you get for number 2? 48. And we labeled ours wrong. How do I know that it's centimeters? Hallie? It says it at the top. Raise your hand if you didn't even read those words at the top. Okay, if you had units, that's fine because we put units on the first one. Meyer's still confused. It says it right here. We did number 1 together. Did I say it?
Yeah.
Did we write centimeters on number 1?
No,
Okay.
I didn't write centimeters.
Okay, so I said it, but then I didn't do it. I sound like one of you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2 or 3. What'd you get, Tatum? For number 3. What'd you get, Tatum? 108 is correct.
Yeah, she said a label.
Sorry. Centimeters cubed. Guys, you would have had to take 4 times 9 times 3. Number 4, Ellie, what'd you get?
288 units squared.
Correct. Centimeters cubed. Guys, you would have had to take 4 times 9 times 8. Number 5, I'm not going to scroll down. Jake, what'd you get?
24
24 units cubed, so you would have taken 2 times 3 times 4. And yes, you would have gotten, 24 centimeters cubed or 24 units cubed. Next page. On this one, you just had 2, 3, and 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How are these ones different?
Because you
Owen?
have to do it, you have to do only have to multiply 1 time instead of 2.
Okay, because what is this 72 telling me?
That's the base.
It's not the base.
Oh.
That's the area of the base. Okay, the area of the base is 72, so you're right. It's already done some of the multiplication for me. So 72 times 9 is 648. This one didn't tell me a label, so it would be units cubed. On number 3, Emmy, what did I have to multiply on number 3? Okay, why did you have 3 numbers in that one? Yeah, on that one it gave me the length, the width, and the height. So you would have had to multiply all of them, and you should have gotten 180. Same thing on number 4. It gave us the length, the width, and the height. Should have gotten 315 if you multiplied correctly. Raise your hand if you did pretty good on these assignments. Okay, good job. Now, find, hey guys, we're not done. We're doing more today. Find the page. Yours should be the next one. Yes. We're just going to work it instead of writing the words because we have done things like this for area. What did we do when we had weird shaped problems and we had to find the area? Leo? Yeah, we can break it into shapes that are easier to work. Okay? So when I look at that shape, it's a sideways T. Where could I break it or decompose it to make it into shapes I can find the volume of? Afton? Yeah, if I chop it right here, do I now have 2 rectangular prisms? Yes. We're going to number them. Okay, we're going to call this one number 1 and this one number 2. For number 1, how do I find the area of a rectangular prism, Dawson?
Length times width times height.
Okay, so for number 1, I'm going to write V equals length times width times height. For number 2, Dom, what's my formula for the volume of that other rectangular prism? The same thing. V equals length times width times height. Now, sometimes they don't give us our numbers where we need them. We have to use our brain a little bit. Okay, so sometimes they might give me like a 2 up here, and I'll need to know that that one's the same. Okay, this one gives me everything I need where I need it, but sometimes we have to think about, okay, if this side's 6, this side would also be 6. Okay? For number 1, what is my length, my width, and my height? Ethan?
2 times 2.
Okay, that's my length and my width. So 2 times 2 times 5. Oh, and what's 2 times 2?
4.
Drop my times 5. Jake, what's 4 times 5? 20. For number 2, Meyer, what's my length, my width, and my height?
4, 2, and 2.
Okay? So he's calling 4 and 2 my length and width. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So 4 times 2, and my height is 2. What's 4 times 2, Dom? 8 times 2 is 16. Am I done? No, because it's asking volume of that weird T shape. We know the volume of part of it and the other part of it. So Lily, how do I get my answer? I'm going to add my two answers together. So 20 plus 16 is 36. What is my label?
Inches squared.
Cubic inches. Yep, inches cubed. Again, it's easier than surface area. Let's go down to the guided practice. On most of these, we can chop it more than one place, and it would be okay. Okay, so for this one, we could chop here, okay, or we could chop it here. Sometimes it doesn't give us enough information to chop it one of the ways, okay? So make a decision and start seeing, can I find a length, a width, and a height of that prism? If it's no, try and chop it a different way. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these. Which way are we chopping it? Ethan, what do you want to do? Just go down?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wants to chop right there. Still, I want you to number your sections. So we're going to call this one number 1, this one number 2. They're both rectangular prisms. So V equals length times width times height. Number 2, V equals length times width times height, because they're both rectangular prisms. Now, one of the numbers on the big one is obvious. I am just focusing, and I'm going to color it in. I just need this rectangle for my length and my width. So which one's obvious, Lily? The 5. I'm going to call that my length. If that's my length, that means this distance is my width. Is that distance 6?
No.
Okay, Ellie, how can I find that distance? Because it's not 6.
On the 2 block, you can see that it has 2 centimeters.
Yep, so that's 2. Oops.
4.
Yep, so this distance is 2. So that means that distance has to be 2, and that distance has to be 2. So from here to here has to be 4, because 4 plus 2 is 6. So let's fill in a 4. Now my height, which is this distance. It's not written there, so I can just follow along. It's not written there. It's not written there. Is it written there?
No.
Is it written there?
Yes.
Okay, but you see how you kind of got to follow what you're given. I know I need this one. I know that one's the same. I know that one's the same. I know that one's the same, and that one's the same. So it finally gives it to me down there. 4 times 5 is 20. Times 3 is 60. Am I done? No.
You have to do the other one.
Okay. So now I have to do this one. Length, width, and height. This one's a little more obvious. Length, width, height. 2 times 3 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12.
Does it matter what order you put it in?
Nope. Because it would depend on which side you're looking at as your base shape. So then we just add 60 plus 12, 72, label, centimeters cubed. I want you guys to try the second example, but let's all break it the same. We're going to go down. We'll break it down. So I want you to do number 1. Will we only have 2 in this one?
Well, 3.
We will have 3. This one's number 2. That one's number 3. So I want you to take a second and try that one. You may need the space at the bottom because that box isn't very big. So take a second and try that one. This one makes us think about some of the dimensions. So look up here if you get stuck. What I went through and I tried to color code it. If this one's 4, I went through and labeled the other ones that had to be 4. So that one has to be 4, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, then I went through and did all my sides that were 2 because of these ones. So if that's 2, that one's 2. This one's 2, that one's 2. And I kind of chunked this one just because we'll need that. If that one's 2, that one's 2, that one's 2, that one's 2. And then I did tops and bottoms. 2, 2, 2, 2. 4, 4. This one would also be 4 up there. Okay, shape number 1. Length times width times height. I'm going to do this first. How did I know that that was 4, Owen?
So you split 8 into 3.
I didn't split 8.
You look at
I made it easier. I didn't have to do any math. If the top's 4, the bottom's 4. So my length, I'm going to call it 4. But then for my width, I need that distance. Now, that distance isn't given just straightforward, but Ethan, what is given?
On the right, 2, 2.
Yeah, and I kind of, if that's 2, that one's 2, that one's 2. So notice how I put that little tick marks there? That's showing me that that piece is 2, that piece is 2, and I know that piece is 2. So what's the whole side, Ethan? 6 times 6. And then I need this distance, which is given as 4. So we have 24 times 4, which is 96. Okay. Number 2. Length is 2, or you could have called it the width. This distance is 4, and the height is 4. So that's 8 times 4, which is 32. Last one. Who can tell me what my math problem is? Afton? Two times 4 is 16. Now, what's consistent when you break it up? What's consistent? Ellie? The height of it. As long as you're doing it the same way, the height should be the same because that's like the thickness of the prism. As long as you're doing it consistently and you don't change this to your base shape on one of them and call this your base shape on the other one. Does that make sense? Because you could, but as long as you remain consistent, either calling the front the base shape or the top, your height will always remain the same. Is that my final answer?
No.
What do I have to do? Add them. I'm going to come up here because I'm out of space. 96, 32, 16, 154, right? 12, 13, 14, 10. Oh yeah, 10 plus 4 is 14, sorry. Feet cubed, that's a 4. 144 cubic feet. What? That's okay. Over on the side, I want you to circle. Actually, we're going to break it up together. Number 2. I want you to circle number 2. That's one I want you to do for homework. And then I want you to break it right there. If I break it right there, what do you notice about this chunk and that chunk? They're the same. Let's all number them the same. We're going to number that one number 1, this one number 2, that one number 3. But if they are the same, what did I let you do on surface area? You don't have to show all of the work. You can just put equals 12 or whatever it is.
One says 2.5 and one says, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
It's not the same thing, but that's because this one's 2.5, this distance is 2. So you'll need that. You need to know that those are the same. Okay, then turn the page. I know, I'm your favorite. You guys don't have to say it out loud. Word problems, your favorite. On the notes, digging into word problems. Play on words there because we're talking about raising a garden. Terry is planting to build a raised garden. This is like a planter box, okay? A raised garden. We've already discussed what a planter box is. The area of the base is 12 square feet. She wants to build it 5 feet high. How much soil will she need to purchase to fill the garden? How do I know that this is volume of a rectangular prism besides the fact that that's all we're doing? Leo? Okay, she's filling the garden. So that means I'm finding the volume of whatever shape it is. What'd you say? Ellie?
It gives you the area of the base and the height.
Yeah, it gives me the area of the base and the height. So really, do I have to know what shape it is? No, because what is the formula for any prism volume? That's for a rectangular prism. What is the volume for?
Area of the base times height.
So for this one, we can just write V equals capital B times H because we know B stands for the area of the base shape. And this one tells me the area of the base is 12. What is the height of the figure? 5. Dom, what's 12 times 5? 60. What is my answer? My good answer? Leo? Words in the problem, so I need words in my answer. Ellie?
We will need 60 feet cubed
I know, that's why we're doing it. She will need 60, we say it, cubic feet of soil. She will need 60 cubic feet of soil. Read through guided practice 1 and 2. We're going to do one of them together. I'll let you decide which one. Read through 1 and 2. Okay. Number 2. A pool is 8 meters long and 6 meters wide. It holds a total of 240 cubic meters of water. How deep is the pool? How do I know I'm talking about volume? Elise. Yeah, the pool holds, which means if it's completely filled up. So still, we start with our formula. This one's backwards. Volume equals length times width times height. We rewrite, we substitute, we solve. Our substituting step will look a little bit different here. Why? Yeah, we have the volume. So in place of V, what am I going to put? 240, because that's not my length, my width, or my height. That is my volume. So I plug it in place of volume. What is my length? 8. What is my width? 6. Do I know my height? No, and it's calling it how deep the pool is. Do you agree that if I'm talking about the depth of a pool, that's the same thing as like the height of something? Okay, so we're going to put times h because we do not know the height.
So could you put an X?
You could put an X. Same thing. Start like we did before, except now we need this. Copy down the 240. What is 6 times 8?
48.
48 times h. If I am missing one of my multipliers, what can I do, Hallie? Yeah, I can do 240 divided by 48. And this is a harder one. Divided by 48. This one, it's going to be a single digit number. So guess and check will probably be your best way to figure it out. So what's close to 48 that's a lot easier to count by? 50. Let's count by 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200. So I'm at 250 is 5. So let's check 48 times 5. There we go. But do you see how if it's single digit, you can divide it out. That one, guess and check, is probably our best. So is that my answer? Am I just done?
No. Yeah.
What should I write?
Your answer.
Yeah, so under this, let's write h equals 5. Because we just figured that out. That's why we did this. It has words in my problem, so I need words. So the pool is 5.
Feet. That's it.
What's my label?
Oh,
Meters deep.
That's deep. That's 15 feet.
So over 15 feet. So that's why with formulas, rewrite, substitute, solve. Because then it doesn't matter which variable we're looking for, we can figure it out. Look at the next page. Let me look at the next page. I want you to do 1, 2, and 3. Just circle 1, 2, and 3.
That's our homework.
Plus the 2.
No, we're doing that.
Plus the 2 on the other page. So you have 5 problems altogether.
Wait, we
Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you. On the other page, you're doing 2 and 3. We broke up number 2. Let me go back and I'll break up number 3 with you so that we all have consistent answers. Number 3 is the easier one. I want you to break it right there. Call this one number 1 and this one number 2. So on this page, you just have number 2 and number 3. And on the back page, you just have numbers 1, 2, and 3.
Wait, we have number 1, 2. What were the numbers?
No.
1, 2, 3. Okay?